Our guest this evening is no stranger to Weather World. Dr. Louis Uccellini is a former director of the National Weather Service. He retired in 2022 from that role after spending more than 40 years in public service. Welcome back to Weather World, Louis.
John, it's a pleasure being back here with you.
Appreciate you taking the time. We wanted to have you back because a few days ago, you were part of a group of 5 former National Weather Service directors that released an open letter to the American people about recent and proposed cuts to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, which is the parent organization of the National Weather Service. Tell us how that letter came about.
Well, it came about in terms of us really coming together on this need, and what we felt was an urgent need, was because of the people that were being fired, let go, however you wanted to characterize it, especially the new hires, which were the first to be told with very little warning that because they were probationary employees, they were being let go. Um, the people of the National Weather Service and in other parts of NOAA, the dedication to mission, to public service, I think is well known to everyone in and out of the meteorological community. Um, and we understood that this was going to gut the agency in ways that meeting very important missions in public safety would be compromised, and actually put the whole reaching the mission at risk. So we came together because of the people and because of the mission of the National Weather Service that we felt was at risk.
Okay. Well, let's drill down a little bit. According to published reports, the National Weather Service has lost as many employees in the last 3.5 months due to firings or retirements, about 550 people, as it lost in the previous 15 years. Can you translate those numbers into the impact on day-to-day operations?
Well, it's the capricious nature of how they decided, to let people go means that, as you look across the country, different forecast offices and national centers, and in other parts of NOAA, some of the impacts are really extreme. Some maybe not quite as noticeable. But the point is, there were people let go in the forecast ranks, in the ranks of people who keep the systems going, the IT experts, the radars maintained up and running. All of these people have an incredibly important role to make sure that the National Weather Service is basically on time every time with their important forecast warnings, and now impact-based decision support services, which is in the mission statement. And that's the connecting piece with those people at every government level, organizations, public safety officials that are actually out there saving lives and preparing communities for oncoming extreme events. Providing that information, developing that partnership with these people, which I considered really a remarkable achievement of both, the emergency management community and the Weather Service, to ensure that we, working together, would reach the mission of saving lives and mitigating property loss. All of that's put at risk. So that's the concern. That's a concern that's driving me and the other former directors to say, we have to make this more visible, that this increasing risk to the American public has got to be made more visible. And that's why we put out that letter.
Yeah. So from your experience of leading the National Weather Service for almost a decade, what are some insights that most people don't know about the Weather Service that they should know?
Well, I think one of the most important ones is the newest activities in the provision of these impact-based decision support services, that this is an activity that goes on all the time in terms of, working with emergency managers, not the day before an event, but months before the event, being at their tabletop exercises, developing a trusted partnership, because we're providing them forecast information that everybody knows is not perfect. It has a certain level of uncertainty in it, which actually grows with time, right? So if decisions have to be made at day 7, 6, 5, 4 to get an evacuation process going, and that is, developed through this collaborative partnership. So now, when you get to an event happening, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's the fire weathers, it's the severe storms, blizzards, whatever, there's a collaborative exchange of information to ensure that communities, every community, is ready for and properly responds to these oncoming events. And by the way, it's not just with the emergency management community, it's with the growing private sector within the meteorological community that builds off the Weather Service information. There's a collaborative activity that goes on between the Weather Service and the private sector as well, because emergency managers will tell you the most important thing is consistency and message for them to make a decision 5 days out. So it's a really important activity that is behind the scenes, and people don't see it. And obviously, the folks who decided that they would go in and in a wholesale way eliminate people didn't really quite understand this either, because that's the risk factor that's really driving a lot of us to, you know, speak up. That this is not just forecast and warnings; it goes beyond the forecast and warnings. The mission goes beyond forecast and warnings. The job goes beyond that, and that activity is being put at risk with the number of people that have been let go.
Okay. Dr. Louis Uccellini, former director of the National Weather Service, thanks very much for joining us.
And thanks for having me, John.
And we'll be back in a moment with more.